We're live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome to Lindy's Treehouse. I'm Paramount USA. Climb right up. We're going to start the show. I know the phone's delayed. I'm waiting. It says waiting on Lindy's Treehouse. Let's see how she looks. Oh my gosh, we're back in business. Looks good. It looks good. Yes, after last week's little drama. Yeah. And the funny thing is, last week when I had my show, the theme was don't sweat the small stuff. So I had to laugh because I had to practice what I preached.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like,
no, it's funny how you can get caught up in all the little things.
yeah, I just, oh my gosh. So, welcome everybody. I'm having a conversation with Anthony. Yeah, so as we have tea and crumpets here, you know.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. I'm just beside myself. I'm so super excited because we have Anthony VELLA in the house tonight. So everybody say, hey, Anthony, in the
Hey,
chat.
everybody.
I don't know. Can you see the chat from where you're at too, or no?
No, I need to
Okay.
have that up beside me because yeah, that's nice. Let's see
Okay.
here.
Because I know I'm going to try follow the chat, during the show and everything like I do or whatever. But if you see
Of
something, if you
course.
have the chat open, feel free to, if you see questions before I
Yeah, yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we have Anthony VELLA in the house. Welcome, everybody. It's Paramount USA. Lindy's Treehouse. Come on up.
So she's live.
Yes. Yeah, grab your snacks. And I'm sure my neighbor appreciates me downstairs, see, because I'm upstairs in his apartment on Thursdays. But I
Oh,
try.
yeah.
You can stay on for as long as you want. I usually run the show an hour. Sometimes it goes longer, depends on the vibes, what everybody's doing and everything. So it's totally up to you. If you want to stay over a little bit, we'll see how the chat goes. That's fine. So I'll just, like I said, the show is not about me, even though every day is about me, as
Right.
everybody knows. Hi, Leandra. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah,
Oh,
Leandra.
she
Um,
made her way in. I can see it.
she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Yeah, Leandra, I'd like to introduce you to my guest, Anthony. Uh,
Pleasure
he's
to meet you.
he's a very nice. He's really nice, Leandra.
Sh-
You'll have to
She's
meet him.
she's she's right. I bet
I
she's right
know.
over there.
I know. Well, she's welcome
We
to
have
join
we have
you.
four kids. We have four, so she totally would, but we have four children, and they are in the backyard, probably screaming their heads off, running around.
Oh,
I just
sure.
got this new tent. I've been, being that I haven't been flying for like 10 and a half months now.
Yeah.
I've been looking to do some other things like some camping and it's kind of like two things. I want to do camping until I can fly, and
Yeah.
then when I can fly, I want to do some fly camping. So I was like, oh, I should just get a tent no matter what.
Sure.
So yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
nice.
cool because so like they make for individuals who go backpacking,
Yeah.
there's a whole ton of different types of tents. For example, last year, Leandra and I bought this huge, I mean, this thing was a mansion of a tent, and it's a canvas tent.
Oh,
And the way I found out about it is a friend of mine, I actually taught him how to fly.
yeah.
He ended up purchasing a random tent that he found online. And then when we went out there to go camping, I was like, holy smokes, that's the nicest tent I ever saw. And so we stayed the night in it. It was such a super windy night in the desert, but this thing held up like a house. And so the next day I was like, I gotta buy this. So I bought one. But it's pretty big and it's great for, chucking into our car.
Yeah.
And then we can drive to the woods, but you would never be able to go do some like backpacking on your own with it because it's just too big.
Yeah.
But I developed this like love for canvas tents specifically because of how well they hold up to these harsh environments out here in the desert. In fact,
Yeah.
if you were to see outside of my window right now, it is like a dust storm. You'd think you're in Iraq or,
Oh,
something. It
yeah,
looks really
because you're in
nasty.
Texas. That's right.
That's
You're in Yeah, see,
barely,
I lived in
barely.
I lived in Peoria,
Yeah.
Arizona. But
Okay.
and
Yeah, yeah.
then I moved to the retirement area, and but I lived in Arizona like 40 some years. I mean,
Yeah, we're
Robert
a
was
lot
just a
more.
baby when I moved there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're a lot more like Arizona than we are Texas here because it's the desert. Like 5 minutes that way is New Mexico, and you'd have to go hours the other direction into Texas to get to the next like city. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you've got places like Fort Stockton and Van Horn, but those are like really satellite, like small cities that aren't really like, like
Yeah.
Austin, Dallas, Houston, San
Right.
Antonio.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so we're really a lot more like a Santa Fe, Las
Okay.
Cruces, New
Sure.
Mexico. But so we've got just all cactus, all rocks.
Yep.
Um, Oh yeah, so
Yep.
so
Yep.
so having a durable tent. Anyways, the purpose of me bringing up the tent is I've got it set up in the backyard, so that's what's entertaining the kids right now.
Oh, that's great. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
I remember when we were kids, actually, um, we had the station wagon and the seat
Oh
could
yeah.
go down in the back. And I
How
remember,
awesome.
yeah, and there was one time where I had a sleepover, and one of the kids across the street came over, and I said, "Mom, me and so and so, we're gonna sleep in. We want to have a sleepover, so we're gonna sleep in the back of the station wagon,
Yeah.
right?
Heck
So
yeah.
garage door stayed open and all that stuff. Well, me being the queen that I am, right? I didn't feel like sleeping in that. I decided I didn't want to stay in that, sleep there all night.
Mm,
So I just got up and went in the house and left the kid,
yep.
left him by himself.
There
And
you go.
boy, oh boy, the next day I got, yeah, I got in trouble from his mom, or yeah, or my mom and her had it out, like she was saying, "What is
Yeah.
wrong with your daughter? She leave
Oh,
my
funny.
my 8-year-old son or whatever." And I just remember that I just decided I wanted to get up and go in the house, so I did. And
Yeah.
this poor kid
Yeah.
woke up in the middle of the night. Oh, well,
Yeah, well, I love sleeping in the car. I've been going back and forth to all of these surgical appointments.
oh,
Uh,
true.
yeah, we're about 8.5 hours away from San Antonio, where my surgeon is. Started
Okay.
out that all my surgeons were here in El Paso, but I was having like some complications with the hardware in my arm, which is basically took the majority of the injury from
Yeah.
the crash that I had. So
Yeah.
El Paso. So when the screws started like pushing out against the skin, I
Mm.
was like really desperate. So I went to the head of the surgical department, and he
Yes.
said he was like speaking candidly. He's like, the best option for you is not going to be in El Paso, but he goes, I know somebody really well who's this like renowned arm surgeon, and he's in San Antonio, and if your
Yes.
insurance can cover it, I super highly recommend that you go to him. And like so Leandra and I were at that appointment as we met with the head of the surgical department here in El Paso,
Yeah.
and then um, we were both like Leandra and I were both like, yes, please, please, can you please like see when he can see us? And he goes, he made a quick phone call. He said it's going to be like a month from now or something like far out. And then as we were like about to leave, they rebandaged the surgical site because I had just had a surgery on it the day before, like an emergency surgery.
Yeah.
It was like a mess.
Oh
But
no,
as we
heavens.
were about to leave, he's like, "Wait, can you see him tomorrow?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah, yeah.
gosh.
And so we literally like phoned up Leandra's sister. She came straight to the house. We packed up a bag as quick as we could, and we got on the road to go to San Antonio. And the next morning, like as the sun was coming up, we got to meet who is now my hero of a doctor. His name is Dr. Detta. And yeah, so he got me in. He saw me. He's like, here's our options. And he's like coming at it like he's some sort of general in the army. Like, here's our attack plans. We can come from this side or we can come from this side.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I was like, let's go right up the middle. No, but it was awesome because he was I told him, I said, let's go like as aggressive as possible. I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 in a couple of weeks. And he was like, yeah, that sounds good. So they took all the metal. I had so much metal in my arm. Um, but anyways, once
Good.
again, I
Yeah.
go off on these stories. The point is that for these follow-up appointments, I sleep in the Tesla. We've got a Tesla, and it's so great because uh, literally from my house, it
Yes.
takes Leandra and I the entire way. Don't even have to touch the steering wheel or anything. It's just like really nice.
I Ryan's friend, like I said, my son,
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't lives right only like 10, 15 minutes away from me, and him and his wife, he are just they're my angels. Ryan
Hmm.
will do anything for me, and he always said, Mom, I actually took over their lease for this apartment.
Oh, yeah,
A
yeah.
blessing. It was just a blessing because housing is really housing is it's really there's a housing shortage up here, and so for this it all worked out. This is,
Hmm.
and I always look at this was God's plan.
Right,
His plan was not to move me here, whatever. But
right.
yeah, I just and oh my gosh, yeah. And you're saying San Antonio. When I was married to my second ex, he was a rodeo photographer. So we were on the road a lot. So
Oh, yeah.
the rodeos are big in San Antonio, and I've been to Las Cruces.
I've been to the San Antonio rodeo.
Have you?
Yeah, I've
It's a
been
big,
to the actual San Antonio
yeah,
rodeo. It was huge. I actually
yes,
okay. I'm full of stories. When I got wounded in Afghanistan, I was in a hospital for a long time. They
yes,
medevaced me back to the United States. I remember this was like RC East Afghanistan, near like the Himalayas. Like it was a crazy little spot.
yes,
Um, they put me in a helicopter. Helicopter goes from one base to the next till we get to Bagram, which is northern Afghanistan, and then
yes.
that's where they're like, you've totally broken your back, and so they put me on an airplane, take me to launch stool. Launch stool, they want to do the surgery, and I'm like a super stubborn 19, 20-year old at that time. I was like, nah, I'll be good. Like I don't need a
Yeah, yeah,
surgery.
the famous, yeah,
Well,
yeah, good.
truth be told, they had me on some pretty strong medications at that point. So, so I was just like, yeah, no, I just want to go back to my unit. And they're like, that's not going to happen. So he goes, look, you're either going to have the surgery here or you're going to go back to the United States right now and have the surgery there.
Yeah,
And they even called my parents, and my mom got on the phone. She was like, shut up, Tony. Like trying to talk some sense into me.
yes,
And so they, everybody flew in to where I got back to like Walter Reed to
yes,
home base, and had surgery. But anyways, I
yes,
then was entered into this thing called a warrior transition unit,
yeah,
which is where they send, wounded soldiers to go and essentially recover. Your like daily mission is to just go to medical appointments until you've recovered or been retired from the military.
okay,
But so I simultaneously, like, you get kind of like enrolled in that nonprofit organization, which is a little bit questionable, how they've allocated their funds, but Wounded
yeah,
Warrior Project.
yeah,
But my personal experience with them was really cool because I got to occasionally, not like I got to do it all the time, but occasionally go and do fun things. And so I got to fly to San Antonio and go to the San Antonio rodeo. And while I was there's this country singer named Jake Owen, and I'm like a big fan of country music. Like that's like I listen to classic rock and country music,
sure,
and I know most country songs, and something most people don't know is I am a I am a famous karaoke singer at the bar when I go.
No, no, I thought
Uh,
I was. Oh my God.
yeah,
I
yeah,
used to run my actually when I was in Arizona,
yeah.
I had my own karaoke business.
Right, right.
And
Oh,
it
that's so
was
cool.
at the time it was Rick and Linda's karaoke roundup.
I would have
So
gone. I would have been your biggest patron.
it was like so that is so cool. But real quick, I want to say hi
Yeah.
to my chatters. We got
Yes.
Luis in the house tonight. Hi, Luis. We got Scuba. We got Bill H.
And John Wayne.
And we got John Wayne Cowboy in the house. Welcome, welcome. We have Anthony Vella with us tonight in the
What?
Treehouse. And I'm just
Where? I
super
want to say
excited.
hi.
I know. I am super excited to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
You drove over in your Tesla and
That's right.
you
I'm just in the room right beside you.
you parked it near the tree.
Yep. Now
So
I'm
that
up.
when you
I
come
climbed
down
up
the
the ladder.
ladder, you can just jump right into your. See, I make people use their imagination. We're on the show and everything.
Right. I'm on the second story of the treehouse. You're just the floor below me.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. I
yeah.
forgot
I'm on the
about.
floor.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
look.
If you look out your window,
Oh,
hi,
hey. There you go.
hi.
That's how we do it. That's how we do
Yeah.
it. I'm just. Like I said, I'm just super excited. And I want to hear all about, what you've been up to. I want to hear about your podcast. Scuba, I'm glad you're okay after that ouchie.
What?
At the
What
fly-in.
happened to Scuba?
Yeah, he got an ouchie at the fly-in.
Oh,
At the fly for Gauge. He's okay, but and
oh, good to
JD,
hear.
JD's in the house. Hi, JD. Welcome, chatters. Thank you so much for hanging with us tonight.
Check that out. Full house tonight. We're a
I'm
little
like,
cramped. Can the treehouse handle this much
and
weight?
we're gonna do a
Everybody
little.
get out.
We're gonna do a little karaoke, and at least if I do a little karaoke, I won't get what do you call it? Flag for copywriting, copyright song.
That's right. That's right. My voice
Well, I
will be
guess you have
so
to.
bad. They won't even recognize the song.
I think, yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. That is
No,
so,
no, but I didn't tell you. When I went to San Antonio, they put the Wounded Warriors at the very front of the stage, right? Have you heard of Jake Owen? Maybe not. Okay. Well,
yes.
Jake Owen is okay, super famous
I
country
may
singer.
be older, but I
That's
may be
not what
older,
I
but I
meant.
know I'm like country.
Paramom. No, 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 no. So
Okay.
I'm sitting there in the front row, and
Yes. Hi,
it's at
Scotty.
it's at the stadium, right, where the Spurs play, I think. And the the whole place was filled. And then my buddy's like pointing at me and he's like, he knows all your songs. He knows all your songs. So then Jake Owen calls me up on stage and
Oh,
lets me
no
sing.
way.
Yeah, yeah. I sang in front of like thousands of people. It was so wild, but I had a
That
few beers.
is so cool. That is
just
so.
just barely enough liquid courage to
Oh
like
my
get through it.
gosh. I got to meet. I met Clint Black in person.
Oh, that's really
We
cool.
were. We did the. It was the Coors Rodeo Showdown. They don't even
Mm,
do that anymore, but that was in Phoenix, right? Downtown Phoenix,
sounds
Arizona.
yummy.
Yeah, and I was because I would set up and sell pictures to all the cowboys. This is for all the high tech, the big technology and all that, right? We actually had to go
Right.
to 1 hour photo, and that's how far back
Oh, wow.
or whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the media area because
Mhm.
at the time, media passes, all that stuff.
Right.
And Clint was having dinner like in the next room. Well, one of the bulldoggers came up and said, "Hey, asked my husband at the time, hey, can I get a picture with Clint Black?" And he's like, "Sure," And then my husband looks at me at the time. And he says, "Do you want your picture taken with Clint Black too?" I'm like, "Do I want my picture taken with Clint Black? Are you kidding
What
me?"
a silly question.
Oh my God. So yeah. So I got my picture taken with him. He was very gracious. He's just a
Wow.
little guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got to hang out all night up in the suites with all the
Yeah.
cowboys and stuff. Fred
How cool.
Woodfield, Fred Woodfield was up there, and all these big names, and yeah, it was was pretty cool.
Wow, right on.
Yeah, drinks just flowing at the time,
That's the best.
when you're like in your late 40s, it's like whatever. Now
Well,
it's like
I haven't drank in almost 11 months. I
good for
feel
you.
no, it's not by choice.
Oh, I mean,
It's
it's been almost
I would
3 years
love
for
to.
me. I
Well,
got
congratulations.
sober, yeah, about almost 3 years ago, and I
Yeah.
just decided I didn't enjoy it anymore, and I just stopped, and that's it.
Hey, that's actually really awesome. You know, truth is it's like alcohol is one of the worst things that you know, especially because it's objectively hard on your system. And when you're wanting to fly a paramotor, it's like
Hi, Munchkin.
this isn't a young man sport, but
Oh,
you know, you have all of these gentlemen who are, you know, 40, 50, 60, 70 in some cases years old doing it. And that's an
I
accomplishment.
can't.
That's a serious accomplishment to
I
be.
can't. Yeah, I just decided because heck, in May. I'm gonna be 70 years old in May, and
Oh wow,
so
you're
I,
looking wonderful.
well, thank you. And like I said, the only one who can take care of me is me, kind of thing. But and Bill said he's going to be 65.
I
So
thought he said 66 because he said I saw he wrote 33 is half
yeah.
his age.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just
because he
quick
said
math
the
for Bill
average
there.
age. Yes. And John Wayne Cowboy said he stopped drinking a long time ago. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I could party and drink with the best of them, but now I have a slight bit of vertigo. That probably wouldn't be too
Do
wise
you,
to.
do you feel better as a result of it? Do
Oh
you
yeah,
feel good? Yeah, yeah.
it was kind of hard the first month. I mean,
Right.
my sleeping pattern was all screwed up because I was
Sure.
used to having having those drinks and watching TV and then go to sleep. And
Sure.
and now it's like praise God, but
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
look at the karaoke king. Okay. That is
That's
so,
right.
so cool. I know I love karaoke, but I haven't there's not a whole lot of karaoke out. I live like a pretty small town. So you kind of have to drive a ways to get. And before I came out here, I sold my truck because it probably wouldn't have made it out here or whatever. And I really don't need the truck because they have this cool little shuttle bus through the
Oh, cool.
Friendship Center, the senior center, and you can buy bus passes. And I use that for I use it for all my appointments and stuff. And then if I can't get there, then I call my son. He's my backup plan, and my son or my daughter-in-law get me where I need to be. But I've
Oh,
got
that's
everything
awesome.
I need here, and I do my walks. That's an important thing.
Yeah,
Walk,
totally.
start walking a lot. The
Walking
weather's
is like one of the best. If you could only do one thing for the rest of your life, it's walking. Like walking is truly like the best thing for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was doing. I have kind of have the best of both worlds because Lake Michigan, I can walk to the bayfront, and it takes
Oh,
me
nice.
20 minutes to walk to the
Hmm.
bayfront, or I can walk over to the college if I want. So a lot of times I'll jet down to the bayfront, and then if I'm feeling really good, I'll head over to the indoor track at the college and I walk the track. And if the weather's crappy, then I just have the bus. I call and the bus comes gets me and drops me off. But I was already last year I was doing like easily 6 miles
Oh, right
like
on.
3 times a week. So
Very cool.
because of all the snow, I've been kind of out of it, and I have to get back into the groove. But I wanted to wait that I could, start walking. And oh yeah, the bayfront. It's beautiful. It is beautiful
Hmm.
in the summer, and I always put like pictures on, on Facebook and stuff,
Yeah,
and I have a
yeah.
lot of pictures from the last few years, and it's very soothing, very therapeutic.
Mm,
I love taking pictures of things that people wouldn't normally take pictures of, you know,
hmm.
um,
Yeah,
uh, things that catch my eye, kind of thing. And
right.
I just I head down there by myself or whatever, and I love it. And there's been times in the summer I'd be walking back and it'd be hot, kind of hot. I try not to walk when it's real hot.
Oh, you can't talk about hot. Like you got to come feel El Paso in the summertime.
Gosh.
This is brutal.
Oh
Yeah.
my, yeah, yeah. I remember those brutal summers. Yes,
Yeah, Arizona, you're right. Arizona's like even worse than El
yeah.
Paso.
And I actually, well, even when I was in Arizona and being in the whatchamacallit, the retirement community, I would go. I finally started going to one of the rec centers,
Hmm,
and as long as you live in Sun City, you paid your dues, you go to the rec center, whatever. And I started doing that's where I started walking on the indoor track. And then when I came here, after, when you first move, you have to get acclimated to everything. Your whole, when I came up here, I was like a little kid, I walk in the door, okay, I'm sitting in my apartment. Now what do I do? And kind of
right,
thing. And then I finally decided to venture out of my comfort zone and start walking,
right.
get out and start walking. I was so proud of myself. But that's another thing, the flying.
Yeah.
That when I moved here in 22, it was when I came up here, my first flight, my Tana was 2022. And everything still in my life was just like all over the place. And when I got up in the air and I came down, everything, my life was changed forever. So I want to hear. I want to hear when. Let's hear about your flying, because it's not about me; it's about you. When you
Well,
the very first time you flew, what got you interested in it, and just kind of tell your story.
okay.
Um, okay, all right, now
Well,
take it away.
well, my parents, you know, did what they did, and then I sparked into, existence. Oh wait, how far back? No, oh, flying. Okay. So my first flight was in Galveston, out at the beach, and long story short, like I had anticipated loving it right from the start, but my first flight, I was like really, really intimidated, truth be told. Um, and then when I came back to El Paso, I was flying by myself a lot in the beginning, and then I met another local who joined me, and he and I would fly together. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just I feel like I've done a pretty decent job at sharing a lot of probably one of the most documented, or at least I mean I've filmed so many of my flights along the
Yeah,
way. I don't imagine that my flying history has been even nearly as exciting as most people's, because I've never really been big into traveling with paramotors. I think
yeah,
for me, I've always seen paramotoring is just an escape, like a way to clear my head, and I've never gone to a fly-in. For a
yeah.
lot of people think that that's interesting, and
Yeah.
I've
Scuba, real quick. Scuba said, Anthony, I want to read this real quick. Scuba said, Anthony trained one of my flying buds, John French.
Oh, yeah, 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 heck yeah.
Okay.
Oh man,
I
John and
make sure I
James,
read
they're
that.
brothers. Yeah,
Yes.
John and James are brothers, and they came all the way out here to El Paso. So John's brother James was an F-16 fighter pilot. And so you have to understand how crazy this is when I am the flyer of butt fans and a fighter pilot comes to me and he's like, "Can you teach me how to fly this?" And I'm like, it's really strange to have somebody who's
Wow.
flying the coolest aircraft on the planet and come to me to teach him how to fly this little carbureted little propeller
Yes.
thingy.
Yeah.
Like it was very humbling to well, I mean,
Yeah.
I was very honored to have been afforded the opportunity. It was more of I think that when John and James showed up, it was more me harassing James and being like, "Oh, what's it like? Tell me everything about flying the fighter
Yeah.
jet." Um, but no, we all had a really great time. Um, John's a fantastic person, as is James. The two of them are so different, which like John is so quirky, and I love getting to talk to John. And James is like this dude out of the movie Top Gun,
Yeah.
uh, which is hilarious because I'm more like John. I don't really have a cool bone in my body, uh, but yeah, no, John is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really.
Bill H said, "Does Anthony know how many Kyle O students are in the chat?"
No, I don't. I can't say I
Kyle O,
do.
he's awesome. He's awesome.
Did Bill learn how to fly with Kyle O? Okay,
Yeah,
Kyle
Scuba
O and
did.
I,
Scuba
nice,
did.
nice. So Kyle Oglee is planning on coming here again. We don't have like a definitive date yet,
Yeah,
and I'm traveling like crazy.
that's right.
Yeah, coming up. Like, oh my gosh, I have never had such a busy calendar in my entire life with and just to like go over the Atlantic,
Yeah.
back to the United States, over the Atlantic, back to the United States, over the Atlantic, back
Oh
to the
my
United States,
goodness.
over the Atlantic. Like it's all in like, oh my gosh, 2 months, Lindy. It's gonna be madness.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
I
I'm tired just thinking about it, but it's
you've
gonna
got
be so worth it.
the guests that you've had on your podcast that,
Mm.
I mean, I know today I was so excited about having you on today. I can just imagine how you must have, some of the guests that you had on, that your anticipation for that day was, but then a lot of them came in person. So you were sitting like right
Yeah,
there in the
yeah.
same
So
room with them.
totally,
And I just, gosh,
totally. Can you guess? Can anybody guess which arm is smaller?
come on, everybody, look in the chat. Guess which arm is smaller?
Right or left? Right or left? Come on, chat.
Yeah.
Here. Let's do a little flex for the camera. Which arm is smaller? Okay,
Okay.
okay. And then you'll be entered for a $100,000 prize if you get
Yeah,
it
there you go.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
Denise said right.
Any other guesses? There's a
Keep it going.
50% chance,
Keep it going,
folks. There's a
chatters.
50% chance. Okay, all right. Oh, you guys stink. You all get it right. That means I really am
Oh,
getting
so
smart.
it is the right?
It is. It's my right arm. My right arm is just super. It got a. It's got the Harry Potter lightning bolt on it.
Yeah. See if I go like this. Yeah. Okay, so you guys, you all have to bear with me tonight. I just got bifocals yesterday, so I'm still my eyes are still trying to adjust. And so I can it to me
I,
when I look at it, it's like your arms look the same because my
hey,
glasses
thank you.
are still,
This. Can you kick out this Leandra in the? She's coming on a little strong. I don't know who
oh,
she is.
can you oh wait, what'd she say? I have to go back.
I don't know. She's being inappropriate. I think she's flirting with me. We got to get her out of
Oh
here.
no, really? Let's see.
We gotta cast
Can
her
you
into the
believe
shadow
he looks
realm.
that good considering what he's gone through? Oh my gosh.
Will you tell her I'm married? What's
Seriously.
wrong with this woman?
Just Wanna Fly said, she said, thanks. I need all of you guys at times. It gets hard. Jeremy, that used to be with USPPA, wants to give me a foot launch tandem in May at the fly-in. And she said, no, she doesn't want to go back up in the air.
It can be scary.
I totally get it. JD, I'm saying prayers for you and Eric. Eric, cancer sucks. And I hate that I just hated that he's going through that. And Jade, is trying to get another surgery on her other leg, on her other, her leg and everything. And because she still has rods in it and she's in a lot of pain. And it's scary. And how much more can you handle? So I just wanted to, we're having a fly-in in Michigan at Torchport. That's like an hour from where I live. So that's
Are you
where I went.
going?
Eric took me up, Eric Lear took me up
Yeah,
on
yeah.
my first, for my very first tandem.
Oh,
And
cool.
I tell you what, when I went up in the air, it was something I never felt before. I was crying, I was laughing, I was yelling. Poor Eric probably has to wear hearing aids now, because I was yelling so hard. JD took her time with me, got me in the seat and everything. And it was funny because I woke up in the morning. It was like, I was excited to go to my first flying and all that and meet everybody and everything. So it's not like I was planning on going up, going, even though they kept asking me all year, Linda, we'll take you up, we'll take you up. And so I
Right.
was sitting there thinking, if I didn't do it, I would regret it. I'd be mad at myself.
Right.
So before I knew it, I was sitting in that seat, and the adrenaline going across that field in that trike is unbelievable. And once I got up in the air, I was just like, yeah, it was amazing. And when I landed, when we landed, I was shaking so bad. I was crying. I was laughing. Everybody was crying. It was just, from then on, it changed my life. And I'm forever grateful for Eric and Jade. And I went back the following year because I had so much fun. And then I went back again last year, and Keith and Kat took me up on my third tandem. So so I knew I had to do it, because following shows and everything, I had to see what it was all about. People
for sure.
Up in the air. So I want to know about your very first experience moving up in the air. Now, Leandra said, I love my first tandem flight experience. It was an Anthony, and I totally understand the adrenaline, all the emotions at once, a core memory for me. Oh, absolutely, Leandra. I'm so glad that you did it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's something.
That was a wild experience.
I don't know why. I always felt safer. I feel safer in a trike than I wouldn't be a very good foot launcher, but like paragliding, jumping in the seat.
It's demanding.
That would be more scarier for me, I think, because you're at least my feet. I can put my feet up on have my feet up on the bar, like steady, instead of they're just hanging off my butt. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Some people get this like false sense of security, thinking having their feet on something affords them some sense of security. It doesn't work that way for me. For me, I actually find trikes more intimidating than foot launch. And the reason for that is because when you have something extended out in front of you, like the frame, it gives you perspective of how much you're swaying in turbulence. So if you happen to get into some bumpy conditions, it seems like I'm more aware of it when flying a trike as opposed to just foot launching. But I do like trikes. Leandra is the one who brought it to my attention, actually. So I was thinking about, my first flight back since my crash, which is imminent at this point. I'm happy to report. The trike, a trike does not require you to hold the A's, depending on the trike. To have the entire riser set up against your arms. You do have the A's to assist the glider up in some configurations.
Yes.
If you have like a big trike, they'll have something called an A assist. Really, like if it has a frame that goes in front of you, it can take those A's. So all you have to do is hold the brake toggles in your hand, and there's no moment where it's pushing against your arms. And as I was meeting with my surgeon, like this month, I met with him on the 1st or 3rd, I think. I was walking him through, like, of course, my surgeon's not a paramotor or paraglider pilot.
Yeah.
So I had to explain, like, the physicality of flying a paramotor to see if I'm physically capable of performing takeoffs or just flying in general. And but then when we left the appointment and I was sitting there with Leandra was like, well, what if you fly like a trike? Then you don't have to use your arms. And I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Right.
So,
She's
but
good. Yeah.
She is good. She was paying
Yes.
attention in class, something I don't do. Clearly. Clearly. How else did I end up in this situation? No, I'm
No,
kidding.
that's okay. I can relate to a lot of that. I remember when I first started watching the shows, and everybody,
Yeah.
I would take notes, and I
Hmm.
watch,
Yeah.
um, you know, um, Sean
Right.
Simon's his show,
Hmm.
and then Robert had
Yeah.
his show, and they always talked about LZs, and
Hmm.
I listened to everything. I make notes because I didn't want to feel embarrassed asking stupid questions, right?
Right.
And I was so proud of myself when I learned what LZ stands
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Right
so
on.
now I feel like a big girl. I'm like, what? Duh, landing zone. Hello.
Yeah. Hello. No,
Hello.
no.
Leander
It's a lot
said,
to learn.
okay. So Bill H said, I still have to watch the Todd episode. And I still have to watch that one. Todd, he's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Um,
heavy.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it. Let's see. Bill H. Let's see my glasses. The Paramotor podcast episode hits hard, a roller coaster of a conversation. Grateful for Todd coming out to record it. And Leander said that. Oh, no
Yeah.
doubt. Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
because he recently, I mean, not that long ago, his wife passed away, and so he really
yes,
goes
I remember
goes
that.
yeah. So he spoke about it at length, and in addition to, of course, like the benefit with what powered paragliding offers to service members, especially those with PTSD, who've been exposed to soldiers being killed in combat, which I have experience with as a combat medic. It's like
Yes.
particularly tough to see soldiers being wounded or killed and just being exposed to that.
Yeah.
It's like it's just I think to this day it's still one of the greatest incentives of
Well,
paramotoring. Hmm.
you've heard of
Yeah,
Project Airtime, right?
I have, right, with
You
Christina
should
Croce.
get, yeah, you should get. See, I always give you ideas. See if you're. Remember, I said Eric Vera would
Oh,
be good. You should get somebody from
Chris
Project
Christina
Airtime on your
Croce.
show.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would love to record with Christina Croce. In fact, he was like one of the first people to message me. Like as I think I was still in the hospital when he reached out. And it was just like the most sincere message because it was kind of challenging. I'm being like I'm downplaying. It was really challenging when I first ended up like in the ICU.
Sure.
Um, you know, sometimes when you expose yourself by making videos, truth is like you don't know how many people are going to end up watching your videos, right? Like
Yep.
when I just made videos because I was like, hey, this is fun and I can show my family and
Yeah.
the to me the probability of it becoming something bigger. I mean, not it's still obviously not like millions of subscribers, but
Yeah.
it reached a point. I like to think of my channel as what it was before my crash, which
Sure.
was around like
Sure. Sure.
17,000. I don't remember, like 17,000 subscribers or something like that. And those were the individuals who I know were most loyal to paramotoring. Those are my people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep. Yep.
Not to say that the recent subscribers aren't my people, but they're not my people, the paramotor people. The paramotor people is where it's at for me.
Yep.
Those are the people who
Yep.
are like brethren, sisterin, if that's a word.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
uh, but you don't know how many people are going to end up wanting to see more of your videos.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just kept making them. People were, subscribing at whatever rate that was. And then when I crashed, uh, there was a tremendous amount of support. Like it forever will go down in my history is one of the most impactful moments to know what big hearts people have.
Yep.
And that said, like to contrast that, there were a few like extremely hateful
Oh,
people.
sure.
Like
There's always going to be. Yeah. Yeah.
right, right. And in the hospital, it's like, I've got the surgeon telling me we're probably going to have to amputate your arm. And I'm also like, you know, I look at my phone for the first time, and I see a couple of people from within the paramotoring community saying you're a piece of S for ruining the business. Now people
Yeah.
aren't going to want to sign up to learn how to fly paramotors. And
Good
I was
Lord.
like trimmed out on speed bar and trimmed out
Yeah.
and on speed bar, like trying to show people a cool new glider. It wasn't even like crazy acrobatics.
Yes.
It was trying to just see what the top speed of a glider was on a virtually windless day. Granted, of course, like mistakes were learned, like very, very painful mistakes were learned
Yes.
by only being 100 feet up when I should have been like 1,000 feet up, should have had a reserve. Uh, but seriously, Lindy, like, what does it matter at that point? If
That's
somebody makes a
right.
mistake, at that point, when somebody's like in the hospital, like in critical condition, you
And
don't drop
it
into
could
their
very well
messages.
happen to that person. Scuba said Will Fly has an awesome headlamp. He gave one to Ripa. Also, I need to find out who makes it. So where is
Oh,
Will Fly
landing
tonight?
lights.
Where is Will Fly? Yeah, Scuba has a trike too. Bill H says get the link and share Scuba. So yeah, Scuba's my other wrench guy. So he kind of helps me watch the chat. You know.
Oh, nice,
Yes, I need
nice.
the extra. Well, I had two co-hosts when I
Yeah.
first started, and they both got work nighttime jobs or whatever, and so I had
Mm-hmm.
Linda Kramer was one of my guests, my co-host, and then a gal named Michelle Aldridge. She lives in Mississippi, and she was doing the show with me. And you know what? Real quick, it's like you talk about people watching your show and everything, and you really don't know how it's going to affect people, and some people that you don't even realize, like Michelle Aldridge, she was, my co-host for a while, and she said that just being the co-host made her kind of come out of her shell. She said she was getting ready to start a new job, and she's always been real quiet, very self-conscious, everything. And she thanked me for having that experience being on the show and everything, and little things like that. You never
Mm-hmm.
really realize the impact you have on people. And I always tell people, I do the show for you guys. I don't do it just for me because, oh, look at me,
Right. Right.
and because
Yeah.
mentally it helps me too. It keeps me going. And I don't know if many 7-year-olds my age or whatever do podcasts like this or whatever. So that's how I
It's
always look at it. In
exhausting.
fact, I
Like
looked
it.
up on Google how many 7-year-olds also do and the percentage, and it was really small. But I
Mhm.
had a lot of help, getting the start. Of course, you have to have a
Yeah.
village. It takes a
Yeah.
village because
Yeah.
I knew nothing about running this.
You're
But
absolutely right. Yeah.
Dewey said, shame on people that send bad wishes or ill or hurt people just for their pleasure. And Angela said, Angela Preslick's in the house. Angela Preslick. Hi, honey. Welcome. She's like, can Anthony continue with his story? Totally listening to his story. Yes. Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, so okay.
Yes.
So let's see here. Um, yeah, so it was like really, really painful. And truth be told, like Leandra was like, there's no way. I mean, of course, it's easy to say there's no way to have gotten through uh some of the challenging stuff. And without even saying it, I think people can probably understand that there was a little feud between myself and somebody else in the paramotoring community who I've actually invited to be on the podcast, but I don't want to say names
Okay.
for the sake of for the sake. But I don't think that that person will ever agree. And the truth be told is this: so this individual just didn't like me. I've never spoken a word to this individual in my life, and I like remember waking up one day in the ICU, and I had one arm that I could use, and I like glanced at my
Hi, Will
phone, and
Fly.
and I see the name, this person essentially mocking me. And once again, for those who know, they know. Uh,
Yeah, you don't have to
but
mention any names.
yeah, so afterwards, recently I was going to send him a message and just say, dude, if you want to come, like I'll promote, I'll share what you're doing. I'll share what you're doing with the community. Like, let's seriously put this behind us because it would be so much better. Like anybody who loves the paramotoring community ought to know that it's in the best interest of the paramotoring community to speak positively about the paramotoring community.
Yeah.
There's all these little micro feuds that break out within the paramotoring community, which is kind of silly. And here's the reason why I believe that it's in the best interest of the community for us all to get along. Because if somebody was to go over to the Facebook paramotor group or explore different brands, and I've spoken with Tom PB, who's the head of Parajet, and he and I totally agree. Same thing with Travis Burns over at Fly Products. Like these company heads know that their sales have tanked. Before my crash, their sales were in decline. And when individuals who are just dying to have the opportunity to get in the air and fly in the way that all of us who are in the chat have had the opportunity to do,
Yeah.
like it it's not accommodating when people are butting heads. It's like this isn't CNN versus Fox. It's like we want to
Right.
we really want to have paramotoring be the escape from all the nonsense. Not and I know Robert doesn't like cursing on his podcast, and I will respect that that doesn't take place, but it's BS that people can that 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 these little skirmishes break out. So, anyways, there was that one point where I'm in the hospital and that took place, but I really want to draw attention to the fact that Leandra was incredibly supportive of me as I was going through this extremely challenging time. Like I was in a wheelchair. Here I had like I spent my entire life. This is the second time now, and trust me, you beat yourself up in your head when you find yourself in a wheelchair for the second time in your life. The
Yeah.
first time being Afghanistan, and it's like you just you can really get sunk into like a deep dark place. And so I'm really appreciative that Leandra and many people within the community were such beautiful souls in helping me out. uh so eventually it took a turn for the positive. Not to suggest that there haven't been really hard days. There still are
Sure.
some challenging days, like with my arm.
Yeah.
um but it was while I was in the hospital that Leandra said, knowing that I wasn't going to be flying anytime soon, perhaps not even ever again, but knowing that I had the love for the paramotoring community, she
Yeah.
said, like, why don't you go put all your eggs in the paramotor basket? That's what she said verbatim. Put all your eggs in the paramotor basket, the paramotor podcast basket.
Yes.
And it had been like almost 3 years since I had done the paramotor podcast. And I had dropped off 3 years ago because it was exhausting. It is, as you know, Lindy, like doing these podcasts are extremely exhausting. And for me, I had spent like $10,000 just on podcast equipment.
Sure.
I go a little
Yeah.
bit crazy when it comes to like the equipment stuff.
Well, that's
Um,
okay though.
yeah, I mean,
I mean, if you can do
it.
it, you can, if you can do it, go, gosh.
Well, it's
I just play with light bulbs, I do.
well, Lindy, part of it is because I say I have two passions in life. I have the passion for flight, and I have the passion for video production, cinematography, and things like that. Even though I'm not a cinematographer, I still love cameras
Sure.
and the lighting and getting to do all that stuff. And so for me, and audio as well, which is why I have these microphones
That's like
and
I
some
see those
lines.
when I watch because I stream everything, so I watch
Yeah,
podcasts all day long on the TV, and yeah, they have those fancy wancy mics, and I'm always like, that is so cool. But
right.
what
It's really
you're
expensive,
so
and
good at it.
thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I and when I stopped it, it was difficult because like you said you do this for the community, you do this for the people. The truth is like, what in getting back into the paramotor podcast,
Yeah.
I had to stop saying this is just purely a charity thing, because I have 4 children and a wife, and if the paramotor podcast is of value, and there happens to be people who want to support the paramotor podcast,
Oh
then I
yeah.
am going to be deeply grateful for individuals who want to help me tell the paramotor podcast. And you know, like today I make $200 a month doing the paramotor podcast, and I put in about like 60 plus hours into editing alone every
Sure.
month into the podcast, because I am so crazy. Like, I am way, what is that, OCD, when
Yeah.
it comes to like, going through the timeline and making sure
Yeah.
the conversation's told the way it was intended to be told. And so that when somebody puts those earbuds and they're listening to the
Yeah.
paramotor podcast on their flight or driving out to the
Yeah.
flying field, that
Sure.
it sounds like they're sitting right there. And I think that as I'm editing it, but my brain starts to fry, and then smoke starts coming out of my ears. And then I think, wow, it would be nice if I could at least break even doing this. So
Why
so in
not?
getting back, yeah, in getting back into it, I thought I can either people can I should be in I should really be more vocal about asking for somebody to support if they want to support, either through the Patreon, or with these upcoming flights overseas. I tell people, like, the memory cards just to record with four, sometimes four different cameras,
Sure.
storage. Like, you record yours on this medium
Yeah.
where it's online. For me, I have to record into four separate cameras, and then an audio mixer that records all these separate tracks. And so by the time an episode is done, it takes up like almost a terabyte of information. And so if the show comes out at the frequency that people have been asking for, which is a weekly show, then I can't possibly edit the podcast that quickly. Then the only
Yeah.
solution is to have more storage for me to hold the podcast on until I have a chance to edit it. But that costs an additional $300 each time I want to store
Oh
a
wow.
podcast
Oh
episode.
gosh.
So it just kind of like, it just kind of adds up.
But what it is, you love doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leandra is supportive of what you're doing with with the podcast, which
Yeah,
really, I'm sure, really helps you a lot. Uh,
yeah,
I mean, I do this, and then whatever people see out there, that's it.
yeah.
And when I
Right,
put my show out there, I'm me. That's it. And just
right.
like you're here, you're you. You tell your story. And Will said, what I've learned about the sport and all others I've been involved with is that most people are just acquaintances, while just a few are good friends. So, that's
Yeah,
that's that's true. That's true. I just I I love the sport, and I love, gosh, what's been 4 years or something like that when I started really, seeing what Robert was doing and got interested, fascinated with the sport. But I gravitate to people in the paramotor community or whatever because of the energy. Like, I gravitate to you and Leandra because of your
mhm,
energy and your passion for life. And that's what I love about the sport. And I gravitate
yeah,
to people like that have a passion for life, that want to make something of themselves, and gets me, gets me excited. And then I, follow everybody's show during the week, and I always been, supportive of everybody, and
right,
including, just having you. But go ahead and tell more
right.
of your story. I want to get caught up on the chat and everybody.
Yeah,
I
yeah, an
appreciate
active
everybody being
bunch.
here tonight. So
Yeah, Seems
So
like some really awesome people, familiar faces that I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mr. Vegas is in the house. Tony
Will.
Marsh. I know. I call him Mr. Vegas because they
Yeah,
live in
yeah.
Las Vegas. Yeah, yeah.
Angela,
Um,
always such a sweet person. Bill, such a sweet man. I
yeah,
know, no, an awesome person, and same like with Will and Scuba and all these familiar names. They're great folks. But lastly,
yes,
like, um, simply, you know, simply if somebody like, let's not pretend like there's not anything cringy about asking somebody to like my video or leave a comment. Like, I'm not going to try and trick anybody. The fact is that if I'm telling you to like, or not telling you, but if I'm asking you to like, I'm asking you to like to help trick the algorithm. Because
yes,
no,
yes,
I'm not going to say, "Hey, like my video." It's
yeah,
like, "Hey, help me trick this thing into getting it out there to more people." I think it's funny because it talks about, but I mean, if there is an opportunity for somebody to comment something sincere, then that's
sure.
really great. And just as much as you do, I love to be able to interact in the comments. Like if somebody thinks something during the podcast,
Yeah.
to be able to interact. And that's what's so cool about what you do, is you've got this live audience that I'm looking at right here. Look at, there's your faces on the screen. Uh,
Yeah.
that's really cool that you can interact with them live. I don't have that opportunity, but
Oh, that's true.
it's
Just a little
yeah, no,
different.
every
Yeah.
exactly. And for the longest time, I didn't ever like have an opportunity to do that at all, because the podcast was only on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play,
Yeah.
back when it was still a thing. And it wasn't until recently that I threw the episodes, or I decided to make it a video podcast. Um, but like, I'm balancing two things now. I've got the Paramotor podcast, and then I've still got my main channel. And my main channel is like split, like, right? Because I've
Okay.
got those
Okay.
who want me to fly, and there's those who don't want me to fly. And dang, they are adamant about me not flying again, which is kind of funny because it's like, once again, here I am, like, I made my videos because I wanted to share just like, hey, this cool thing that I'm doing. And
Yes.
now it's turned into like, I've got like 45,000 moms and dads out there telling, giving me like their insight on whether I should or should not fly again. And I tell
Yeah.
you right now, I'm flying again. Like, I'm going to fly again, whether people like it or not. Like, this is my life, and it's something
Yeah.
for me to discuss between my wife and I.
Good.
Really, that's the only person I need my blessing from, is my wife. And for her, it's like, this is certainly not just been a traumatic experience for me. In fact, I would say I'm processing it really well. Like, when I think about myself falling out of the sky, and I'm just, sitting there falling, looking literally straight up at the sky, like, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
I really didn't think much into it. I did think, I said, don't die. Like, I was
Yeah.
aware of that. I knew that this is a really
Yes.
bad situation. And then I had like one little extra request: don't black out. And if I don't black out and I don't die, uh, call 911 immediately. Um, and so when I hit the ground, I uh, was I it was so hard to breathe. Oh my gosh. Like, I like cracked ribs. My lungs were like seriously bruised, like some internal bleeding. Heart was bruised. Bones sticking out of my arm. Pelvis shattered. Back broken, and my neck broken. So I'm just laying there. And once
You
again, not
are
to
a
go back
miracle.
to,
You
I've
are a
really
miracle. God
incredibly
has
blessed.
plans for you. That's right.
In,
God had plans for
incredibly blessed. Yes. You know, and I do a good job at tuning out the comments that were like super nasty about the sounds that I was making. And they're like,
you. Well,
some
what
people
else
just
are you
like,
supposed to do in your
well, yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm
God?
like so busted
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah, you were laying there on the ground and you were like faking it. Yeah, you were just
You don't really have a choice on making
you were trying to
sounds.
be drama. That's what they're all telling you probably.
Yeah, you
That's
don't have a
terrible.
choice. you really don't have a choice on the sounds that you make. But the point is once once I was to the hospital, at no point did I ever have some sort of like scary thought of falling out of the sky. When I see people flying a paramotor, I'm like, I feel so comfortable in my abilities to fly a paramotor that I know that that paramotors can absolutely be safe. So I
Yep.
don't fear it. Like in moving forward, um, somebody suggested to me, I won't name his name, really good friend of mine. He was like, "Oh, you should as part of your progress story, um, uh, do a tandem flight, um, to show this like building trust with flying again." And I'm like, well, that wouldn't be real because I don't have a fear of flying. Like I don't fear it. Like I just need to be physically capable of it and then apply the good lessons learned in all my future flights and make ultimately make really good choices. Uh so anyways, so now where I'm at is I'm trying to plan. I just met with my surgeon. I don't want to give away the spoilers because it was such a great conversation that I recorded, and I'll be sharing that video
Yeah,
on
keep that a
my
secret. Yeah.
yeah, it was such a good conversation that I had, and Leandra was there with me, and she helped me
Yeah.
film this conversation with my surgeon. And
Very
what's
cool.
really, really cool about it is at the very end of the video, like at the very end of the conversation, I asked him a question, being that he's like operated on me and he saw the damage to my
Yeah.
body. I said, "Would you let your kids fly?" Because he's got these little kids.
Yeah.
And his answer was like incredible. So I look forward to
Okay.
sharing that. And then
Okay.
I'll say that my first flight back is going to be coming soon. And while I say that I haven't feared um, flying again,
Yes.
it will be. I know it's going to be like um, probably an emotionally overwhelming moment for me because
Sure.
my biggest fear was not flying again. Not
Read
flying again, but not flying.
Angela put something in the chat. You go ahead and read it. It's very nice. It's about you.
Yes.
About you.
Angela says, "It
Read
was
it.
such a great thing that you shared your experience so honestly. Not that you had the accident and all, at all, but your honesty was admirable. Thank you, Anthony, for your bravery and courage." Thank you very much, Angela. You
That's
are
nice.
always such a wonderful and supportive person. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
That's nice. That yeah, I wanted you. And if you see something in there in the chat before I see it, yeah, go ahead and read it or answer a question or however that you like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm following it. My eyes are all like, woo.
You got some great people in your chat.
This they
Billy says he liked the podcast with Alexis Quintana. That was a lot of information. Holy smokes.
Oh yeah, I met her at church. The first time I met her was 2022.
Pick your
In
poison. Pick your poison.
2023, I met her. I met her at the torch port. Her and Justin.
Which one are you
Oh,
guys taking?
what am I looking at?
Come on, chat. Tell her what we got up here. It's my poison. This is my some people have like top shelf liquor.
Oh,
I got I got top shelf gliders.
oh yeah, gliders up
These are
there.
the creme de la creme.
I see like
Yeah.
the okay. I can see like the colors. Got the
Yeah.
gliders up there.
It's like a rainbow up there. It's beautiful.
Are you sitting like in your man cave? Is that your man
This
cave?
is kind of like my man cave. Check it out. I've got my gym set up, which is
Look at that,
just
chatters.
just been collecting the dust. Uh, we got the HVAC system mini split up on the wall to help keep me
Mm.
cool when it's 110 degrees outside. And then this beauty. Hey, good looking. How you doing? What you got
Ah,
cooking? Yeah,
I love it.
that's what gets me out there for some desert therapy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. Those things are cool. I think Robert's got one. What do they call those? Because I see
A
them on
four-wheeler?
rodeo podcasts all the time. They
It's
drive
just my
around,
four-wheeler.
they just drive around the ranch. It's like a modified luxury golf cart kind of thing.
Oh no, those are side by sides. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see a lot on my ranchers use
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, so I'm I'm really looking forward to it. But oh, I was gonna ask your chat people
Sure.
if they listened to the Alexis Quintana episode and they heard the part about me asking if it should be allowed for us to fly at night. Okay, I want you to imagine this,
Ooh,
Lindy.
suspense.
Imagine the tandem flight that you went on, but imagine instead it's like the most beautiful full moon night over something like a dry lake bed or a salt flat, and there's no obstacles, no power lines, no air, no, when I say no airspace, I
Yeah.
mean something other than class G
Yeah.
airspace.
Yeah.
So it's like out in the middle of nowhere. Now the question that comes up is, once again you find this like this debate between those who think it should be allowed and those who think it shouldn't be allowed. On the
Okay.
side, and this is what I posed to Alexis Quintana, because Alexis was saying that she didn't think that no, you shouldn't be able to fly. I don't want to I don't want to, tilt my head and mock her, because I don't agree. I think that my
Everybody's got their
opinion.
opinion.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to. I'm under the impression that people should be allowed to fly at night, because if there's no potential for injuring anybody else. Like, I'm a huge advocate for, if you don't hurt anybody, that you should be able to exercise your own caution to take good steps. I mean, after all, we're
You would
flying
have to be
paramotors.
experienced too, experienced flyer. Personally, I don't know. I don't think I'd do good flying at night. I mean, even taking a tandem at night.
But do you
'Cause
think
I
do
can't
you
see
think people should
nothing.
be allowed to?
Should people? I don't see why not. I don't see why not. I mean,
You're my kind of people, Lindy.
you want to do it, go, but just keep safety in mind, and it's same thing as
Right.
going up in the air during the day. You got to
No
you got to
risk
weigh it.
to anybody else, right? Like, no risk to other
Yeah,
aircraft, no risk to anybody on the ground. And
yeah,
then hopefully you make good choices. Full moon, perfect weather, car on the ground with headlights, something like that. Yeah. I mean, Scuba says fly at night, but with some restrictions.
yeah.
But John Wayne says you can hardly see during the daytime.
I know
Um,
exactly. Yeah,
Tony says you can sky drive at night, and I would need ground lights. Yeah, Bill, like I totally agree. Like, it would be super wise, right? Like, even airplanes need landing lights, like on the runway. Put a strobe on your rig and lay down some flares. Oh, that would be really cool. Can you imagine? Like, oh, what if you have a flare? Like, like the flares like in the movies where they're like,
yeah,
and they're like waving them
yeah.
around and they're super bright. But what if you're on your paramotor and you pop one and then you chuck it down on the ground and then you can like go land by it? Just don't
Yeah.
let your glider land on the flare. That would be
See what
expensive.
Will Fly said? You can read it.
It's about keeping other. So Will Fly says it's about keeping other general aviation aircraft safe, traffic separation. That's my season, and I totally agree. Like, I totally agree with Will Fly, but
Okay.
like there are some areas where you go out there all night, no matter what. Like, for example, Will,
There he is.
the
Robert's
there's
in the chat.
Robert.
I was just
Do you
thinking
know
about
that
him.
guy? Do you know that guy? Robert
Ah!
Michaels. I know him too.
Hi, Robert. Hello, my son. Welcome. I'm so glad to see
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
Yay.
I think Will Fly's keeping a secret. He says that's what I hear. Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people say. They're like, you shouldn't do it. I heard it's great though.
I just let you read the chat because you read it better than I do. Yeah. Look at Robert. He does exist. That's my
So
Robert.
Robert is the only guy who can actually say, hi paramom and it actually be his paramom. That's
Yep.
really
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
knows my name.
That's how
You
I
said
got my
hi,
name.
Anthony Vella.
That's how I got
Wow.
my name. That
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's how I kind of got my name because with Robert Flying, and I had to think of a show name or whatever. And when I was doing Sean Simon show,
It,
uh, yeah,
there.
it came up with the name Paramount,
Perfect.
and I yeah, there we go. And then in fact, Robert, he's the one that Lindy's Treehouse. He's the one that gave me that name, gave me the idea for the name of the show.
I love it.
So, because when you're kids and you go up in the treehouse and you hang out and you talk like we're doing right now, that was that's how I wanted to, how do you say it? Put my show, have my show. I'm trying to think I want to do my show on that, just
Yeah.
everybody getting together and telling stories and just being there for each other and catching up, during the week and whatnot. And that was Lindy's Treehouse. So.
Yeah. No, I love it.
And it's yeah, and you were saying a while back as far as like even when I post things, I'll say I put the the little icon thing. Make sure you like or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
there you
It
go.
is helpful, right?
Yeah, and I'm
It really is
learning,
good.
just throw that in there or whatever, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it, and my views are going up like crazy, and so you never know who's watching it. And if they want
Yeah.
to hang around and watch, come back, fine. If they don't, I don't take it personally. And like you, oh my gosh. Yeah, you got a lot going on, and I'm excited about your podcast. Yeah, and I want to hear more about how you decided. Bill H says best show so far for Paramount USA.
Hey, check
Oh,
it
thank
out.
you. I always say
Woo-hoo!
it. I couldn't do it without you guys, right? It wouldn't be a show without my chatters, and they come back faithfully every week. And you are welcome, Anthony, to come back every week, jump on the chat and see what's going on.
Yeah, when available for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. It's a
But
good crowd. Like it's all like you said, it's all about the people,
well,
and you've got some great people surrounded
I,
by or surrounding
and
you.
yeah, and then the ones that matter will, they come back every week, and the ones that don't, whatever, that's how I
Yeah.
look at it. But
Right.
I can't imagine. I'm thinking like you're saying, flying at night. Like tonight, what is it? Is it like
Blood
blood
moon?
moon? What's it called?
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah, I
blood
gotta tell you
moon.
something.
All the vampires are coming out. Yep.
So one year, when was the last time we had the orange moon or something like that? Well,
Well,
I
those
also
harvest moons. Yeah.
do acrylic painting.
Oh
So
yeah,
I got
right on.
inspired one day and I did a moon, the orange moon. Let's see, can you
That's very
see it?
cool.
Yeah, I never thought I knew how to paint. And then when I first moved here, my daughter-in-law says, "Come on over. We're going to do some painting." And I've never painted my entire life. And once I started
Wow.
doing it, I loved it. Like 50
Yeah.
some paintings later, and sometimes I send my stuff over to Robert, and then I ask him, "Where'd you hang my painting?" So go, in the closet. I'm like, "Oh, that's a good place for it." Okay. So I even wear my beads because it's St. Patty's Day is around the corner and stuff. I was getting festive here for the
Oh
show,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
because I didn't have the green hat or whatever, so that's a rodeo hat. But so what made you decide to like the podcast that you're doing now? Like
Mhm.
before, remember you're doing the flying, and what made you decide to do these bigger podcasts, like get more
Oh yeah.
out
Yeah.
there to people?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I forgot. I think I was going there, and then
Because
I get like
that's a lot of work. Oh
I'm
my
like
gosh.
a dog with like squirrels, so I always
Oh,
forget where I was going. But that's a good point.
I,
You got me back on
that's
track.
my middle name. You just ask my chatters. Oh yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The so I like put my foot down essentially when I got back to doing the Paramotor podcast. I said if I'm going to do the Paramotor podcast again, I'm going to do it where every episode will be in person. And at first I thought everybody's going to fly here. But there are inevitably going to be instances where it would be just obviously better for me to go to somebody else. Hence why, these international trips coming up, uh,
Yeah.
for a couple of reasons. One, I'll be able to sit down with the owners of these very well-known paramotor manufacturers and speaking with them in their headquarters where they're building these things.
Is that where
And
you're going? Is that where
yeah,
your
yeah, no, the
trip?
only reason I'm going overseas is to meet with different
Oh,
manufacturers
that's
within the
cool. Oh
sport.
my God. You're gonna be
Yeah,
like a kid in
yeah.
a candy store.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, there's like really good examples, unfortunately. So maybe a good example was there's this guy who's like really objective in his reporting, a YouTube channel. Like he recently did one. Well, maybe it's been a while now. He went and he did like Appalachia, and he went to San Francisco. He went to like Salt Lake City, Utah, and like he'll talk to people like to the Mormons and or he'll talk to people living in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he basically just carries his camera around. If anybody can think of this guy, he's really great, non-confrontational. He's not on one side or the other. He's just a guy who's out there talking with people, so you get to learn. And I thought, man, that would be really cool to get to like go over there and man, I don't think I want to say the countries yet because
Yeah.
well,
No, you
okay,
don't have to. You don't have to. You could,
okay,
because you're going to
just
do a podcast on that when you come back and everything. So yeah, you don't have to say anything.
well, we'll meet up. We'll meet up again, and I'll tell you all of the things I didn't cover, all the other cool, exciting stuff, and we'll join right here in Lindy's Treehouse and talk about that then. But
Yeah.
to get to like go and meet with like the most well-known like paramotor companies and paraglider. Like I am so excited to get to go inside the factory where they're manufacturing the gliders, especially. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, to see the motors getting made is really cool, like because they're building the frames. But I mean, they are using somebody else's harness and somebody else's engine and somebody else's propeller. But with the paragliders, they're built like from rolls of fabric right there, and the amount of like
Oh my
R&D that
gosh.
the research and development that goes into making a paraglider, and this is right up a guy named Robert Michael's alley. I don't know. Once
Did you
again, I
see
don't
what
know
he
if you've
said
ever
in
heard
the,
of
did you
him.
see what he put in the comment?
Oh, free flight is chess. PPG is checkers. He's not lying. He's absolutely right. Some of us don't want to put in that level of effort, Robert. Okay.
Oh, that's
I mean,
hilarious. Well, that's one way of putting it.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna pose a question. See, here I am, like squirrel again.
It's,
But
it's
I,
okay.
that is like such a good argument. Oh, it's so funny. Okay, never mind. Um,
About flying at night or a different argument.
no, the argument, the
Yeah.
different argument is the whole paramotoring versus paragliding, and I I think that paragliding offers a beauty that can't be matched by paramotoring. And whoa, before people hate me, uh, there's something, see, like paragliding is like surfing, right? As opposed to jet skiing. Like, don't get me wrong, jet skiing is a blast. But to connect with that wave, like the environment, just right, because you'll fail so many more times with paragliding. In paramotoring, you don't fail nearly as much. So the reward of nailing that paragliding flight or having your first flight up to cloud base or some cross country flight. Okay, I
Yeah.
will give away one spoiler. Okay.
Okay.
Although my manager has told me not to do too many spoilers because I'm like loose lips sink ships. I sink all the ships. Um, I
I love it. I love it.
I almost said Gavin Newsom. What? Gavin McClurg. Yeah, I'm having Gavin Newsom on the podcast, folks. No, Gavin McClurg, Lindy. Gavin McClurg, Robert
There's
can
too many
fill you.
Gavins. Yes.
They're a lie. I bet Robert Michaels doesn't know who Gavin McClurg is, huh? Huh, Robert? I'm looking at the chat. Gavin McClurg
She said, "I see
is
you." Yes.
is one of the most famous paragliding people in the United States, at least. He's a Red Bull X Alps pilot, and he does an incredible podcast called Cloud Based Mayhem. Really, really cool guy. And so he said he's would love to be on the Paramotor podcast. His
Okay.
I want to have that argument and hash it out with him on yeah.
That'd be
Which
cool.
one
You
is
see what
better?
Robert said? Did you see what Robert said? He said
He says,
he
I
knows.
do know Gavin. He is inspiring. Like, I'm telling you, this guy is so cool. He's even written a book. He's like really, really Munchkin says Isaac's cousin Newsom.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh my God.
You know who Gavin Newsom is, Lindy?
Gavin.
That's the governor
Wasn't he
of
on Robert?
California.
Was he on Robert's show ever? I'm wondering.
He probably was. Gavin Newsom probably was on Robert's show. I bet he was.
That's what I'm thinking.
I
Robert,
think
was he? Yeah.
so.
Put in the chat. Was he on your show? Because he knows so many people.
Robert, was he?
You know, he knows so many people. But the funny
Yeah.
thing is, when he went to Salton Sea, I think it was Salton Sea. People see him.
he said he spit his water out. Okay, Lindy.
Okay.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, he started his own podcast.
I should know
recently.
that.
It's
Watching all my
pretty
podcasts,
interesting.
following Fox and all that. Oh God!
Well, Gavin Newsom did a podcast with a guy named Charlie Kirk recently, and really interesting stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, because those are two people on totally opposite ends of the spectrum. Like you have Gavin Newsom, who's very progressive, and then you have Charlie Kirk, who's very conservative. And these two individuals, I mean, had a pretty interesting conversation. Yeah, but
wow, Jeremy's in the house. Yo, hey, Jeremy. Jeremy Howe's in the house.
I agree, Will Fly.
My Michigander. What's up, Jeremy? That's cool. Welcome. Okay.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom and his son loves Charlie.
Gavin Newsom's son does love Charlie. So it's really interesting. And Charlie Kirk posed this question, or made this statement saying that individuals from the left could never succeed in having a podcast, because just like you and I here, we speak freely. And at least what he was arguing was that when somebody is very, very mindful of people's feelings, it sometimes interferes with their ability to speak freely, because they're very, very concerned about offending people. Now, anyways, I know I love talking to my friends about this, and yeah, I think I know how your chat feels.
Okay.
Yeah. Good content.
Yeah. Yeah. John Wayne says, done with my walk. Now check my blood pressure. Hope I have some. Oh my goodness. What's Scuba saying? Tony, they're talking about tangled lines and stuff. Because Scuba has a show on Friday nights, Anthony.
Oh, cool.
You got to check it out, Scuba Vapes.
I know, Will Fly. Okay, I'll check out Scuba Vapes.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to his channel too. But every Friday, Eastern Standard Time, 8:00. Well,
I
at
don't
8 o'clock my time, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what FWIW means.
Uh,
I'm not I'm not, you know.
Nancy Vella, I like Newsome, FWIW. Yeah, what is that, Scotty? Yeah, these kids, I tell you.
I
What
know.
is
I
that
can't keep
mean?
up with them
Yeah,
for
yeah.
what it's worth.
I know a lot of
Oh,
times
for
you
what
put
it's
something in
worth.
there. And, oh, geez. Oh, I knew that. I
Well,
yeah, I would Google
I think that
it.
Gavin Newsom is like super smart for, for the record, because okay, so Lindy, to catch you up to speed,
Oh,
he's
I know
saying
what you're talking
that
about now. Like in California, the dude with the slick back hair.
woo, he looks fresh.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
the squirrel. It took a minute. Yeah, that dude is. I don't know.
So he likes Gavin Newsom. Hey, like
Okay.
that's awesome. That I think obviously, people like who they like, and I think that Gavin Newsom is incredibly smart. I think it, like anybody else, he is a politician, and it would be almost like political suicide to say what you think. And I think, Donald Trump is probably one of the very few people who can say what he literally thinks, and
Ooh,
be able to.
that's a sore
Uh,
subject with
no,
Angela.
sorry. No, I won't. I won't. No, no, no.
Whoa.
I'm not
Just
going to
ask
offend
Will. We're gonna
anybody.
open up a
I,
can of worms here. I love
here's,
you, Angela.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, and that's totally fine. Like, I mean, shoot, I have individuals on the left and the right. Geez, look at me. I'm just excited to be here.
I know
Paramotoring.
you're doing great. I'm just happy that, like I said, I've been anticipating this, and I didn't tell anybody. The only person that knew that I was going to have you on the show was JD when
Come
she was helping me get
on.
started, and she kept my secret because, like, yeah, you don't want to jinx it, just like you're saying certain things or whatever, you don't want to jinx. So I've never
Well,
really tell anybody who the guests are going to be because I want to make, till the day of.
I'm like deeply patriotic. Like, I bleed red. Like, I'm just, I love our country,
Yes.
and I love the people in the country. Like, and I'm glad that we have a million different opinions here. Um, yeah, no, but I mean, I also, yeah, really love the military, and those who fought and died for the country, and yeah, no, exactly. And eat, like, Angela, I see all of her posts, and
Yep.
I love getting to read Angela's posts on Facebook. And
Yep.
the most beautiful thing is when somebody can have a different opinion from you and you still respect each other. Like,
Yeah.
that's ultimately what matters. Uh
Yes. I'm
yeah.
just glad. I'm just glad I like it's just so surreal. You're sitting in front of me,
You're sitting in
talking
front of
about you're
me.
telling your survival story, and you are so inspiring. And I told Robert that you're going to be on the show, of course. And I thought I was like the coolest
You
podcast
got me
of
feeling
the week
nervous.
because I
I do
I
I
was
do a
getting you on the
podcast where
show.
I
It was
can't
just
do it
like
live.
he's really I'm gonna and I was thinking when I was going to ask you to be on the show, I'm like, gosh, I don't, he's so busy and this and that. And then I'm like, God, it'd be really cool to get him on the show. But yeah, and here you
I
are, and
mean,
we're just
yeah.
having we
A good old time. That's
God
what we're
bless
doing.
America. I mean,
And
just for you to be sitting here talking to you and your family, I adore your family, and it takes a village, and it took a village for me to get this show started. Just ask Scuba. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because Scuba
Well,
helped me with a bunch of stuff, and so did
that's
JD.
awesome. That's really awesome that oh, I got Robert says check my messages. In the meantime, if anybody does have any questions, I know that it I know sometimes shows get wrapped up quickly, and somebody may have thought, "Oh, you know what? I should have asked that." I
Yeah,
do
well,
that
it's
all the
been fun.
time.
Goodbye. No,
See ya.
uh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we'll
That's
wrap it. We'll actually wrap it up whenever you want to.
Oh, I'm
10
fine. I
o'clock
just
is
wanted to
when I
make sure.
usually 10 o'clock is when I shut it down because the kid downstairs gets up for work, early and stuff. So out of respect for him, I try to just I get everything all set up to go to bed, to go to bed or whatever. So I'm not like dropping things out of the fridge
Okay,
and everything else.
Robert, your son sent me a voice message. I have to listen to it. So you say something while I make sure I hear what your son sent me a
Okay.
message.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see what he says. Robert, you're so funny.
I wonder if I can play this on speaker. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, oh. He asked a very good question, and his voice is hilarious. He says,
I know. Will Fly said, "Can we get a link to Anthony's podcast?"
yeah, you bet.
It's on
Uh,
Facebook, right? It's on Facebook.
I think so. They can
Yeah,
go
I
to
found me.
Facebook.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook. It's the Paramotor Podcast on Facebook and youtube.com/the Paramotor Podcast. And if they go to any podcasting apps or like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever, they can just type in the Paramotor Podcast and it'll be on there as well. Thanks for thinking of me, Will. The question Robert wanted to know was he wanted to know Leandra's opinion on me getting back to flying and how does she feel about all of it? And it's probably the most important question, like I was mentioning earlier. I mean, I still can't like move my hand, right? Um, Leandra is so it's like such an anxiety inducing thing for her. Um, she wants she wants me to fly. Like our relationship was like founded on flying. The very first time she ever saw me was me flying over the interstate, and she was taking her nephew to school, and
I love it.
yeah, and she because there were some locals who started following the photos that I would take in the air, and she was one of them. And then when I saw her message come through, I was like, "Dang, who is this girl? She's very pretty." No, it was more. I was more collected than that. Um,
Yeah.
but just only a
What
little
a
bit more collected
babe.
though. Yeah, pretty much. And I had a friend on Facebook because of course I stalked her. I was like, wow, she's super pretty. Let me try and learn everything I can about her. I had a friend who was a mutual friend, so I messaged him and I said, you have to get me to meet this person. And he goes, dude, like I don't know her. Her dad was my teacher in school. And I was like, I don't care. You will you will make this happen. And it took like 6 months before she eventually said yes. She played very hard to get.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
that's more fun
yeah,
that way. Angela
it
wants to know what she said, what happened with the surgeon you just saw? She said, did I miss that?
yeah. So okay, without giving away too much, the surgeon it was like better than I hoped for, and simultaneously not as much as I hoped for. So, I know that's a little bit confusing. Um, I will be flying very soon, like very, very soon. I just need to check a few more boxes. Um, and I will be going back to San Antonio, where my surgeon is at, on April 3rd, and for additional imaging of my arm. So basically, the reason the arm was such a big complication from the beginning was the extent of the fracture. It was in the words of the surgeon, the worst sort of injury an arm can sustain without it being amputated. Um, so the bones, like in the elbow, were just like numerous fractures, as if you put a piece of glass in a bag and you just hit it with a hammer and it just like fragments all over the place. So in one of the more recent videos I did, you can see a lot of different I show like all of the x-rays that I had of my arm, and it's
Yeah.
just like tons of little fragmented pieces. And what the surgeon did is he basically removed all of the old hardware that was breaking and screws were coming out, because I like to push hard. I like to go hard in the gym. And no, it's actually not because I did that. It's just sometimes the equipment fails, the hardware fails. But he took out all of the stuff that they had put in here in El Paso and fortified it. Like they basically, the surgeon, Dr. Dutta, basically pushed everything together and made it really tight. And the benefit of that is it gives it some structural integrity, but also by having all of those fragmented pieces really close, it affords them an opportunity to adhere and close the gaps. So like if you take two bones and you can get them this close to each other, it's easier for them to fuse than if they're this far apart. Yeah, so the surgeon a month or maybe a little over a month ago prescribed me something called a bone stimulator, which is a device I wear every single night. I'm going to be wearing it after, we finish hanging out tonight, for 30 minutes every night for like 9 months. And what it does is it uses like electromagnetic pulses. It's like creates an electromagnetic field that increases like stem cell and osteoblasts. So basically, my body regenerates bone at a faster rate. And there has been progress, which there hadn't been since the crash. So,
Wow.
like, for the first time in 10 months, the bones are now starting to finally come together. And it should not have taken this long, but it required the surgery being done in the way that it was supposed to be done for it to start to refuse. And so, if things continue to go well, as we pray they do over the next month, then y'all can prepare for takeoff.
Oh, that's it. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. Tony had something in there a little bit. Might have to go back, and he was talking about when he had an accident, I guess, with his motorcycle. He was in the chat, and he didn't ride. I don't know. You have to read it, but he finally started riding again. He was afraid to, kind of like fall off a horse. You got to get back on, you know.
Okay. I see where he says it's always up to the individual what they do or don't do. He says, after I crashed my motorcycle, I didn't think I would ride again, but I got back on and released what I did wrong. It wasn't the bike's fault. Yeah, no, totally. Like, wasn't the paraglider's fault either. It's like you learn from your mistakes, and you either get back on the horse or you don't.
Isn't that,
Yeah.
that's crazy how that works. Just even the littlest things, you know, when I was staying with my mom and dad, I would go walking, right? And I had
Right.
my cowboy boots on like a dummy. And I was walking around, you know, at the park, and I tripped, I fell on my face. And yeah, and so I'm glad for like 2 months, I wouldn't go back and walk. I was afraid to go walking. And then I just had to get back at it again. So same, you know, kind of
Right.
so weird, you know, when little things like that happen, you're like, oh, I ain't doing that again, you know. And then I had to get back out there and start walking again. But I didn't, you know, I was like, what I did is I went and actually got some walking shoes. Yeah. And made more sense than wearing my fat baby boots, my work boots I used to wear, you know. But that's funny how that wow. So you're like bionic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
what Angela says. I'm the bionic man. Yeah. It's
and thank
a little
God
bit.
there was no like head injuries, you know. I mean, everything
Well,
else
that's
kind of,
subjective.
you know
If
what
you
I
ask my
mean?
wife, she'd
It's
say
like,
I had a serious head injury.
I mean,
No.
I'm just, yeah, you're glad that, yeah, mom's birthday's coming up. Yeah, tomorrow. Not my
It's your
birthday.
birthday.
Oh, he's talking my birthday. My mom's birthday is tomorrow. All right,
Oh.
Robert, don't even start. He's going to start. You see what he put in the chat? Sorry, I already told Anthony how old I'm going to be.
Yeah. You gave it up. You already
Boy,
told.
if I
You
live
already
that
said
long, well, that'd be nice, I guess.
It's going to be 83,
The
you
way this
said.
world's going, who the heck knows, man? Yeah, I'm
You're going to get a
excited to
spank.
I'm like weird. I'm excited to make it to 70. I'm just like talking to God, like, let's do this, you know. In fact, my birthday is on Mother's Day.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, it's okay, Bill. You save that. Save the happy birthday because it's not not till Mother's Day. Yeah, my birthday is on Mother's Day. So, yeah, so it's pretty cool. 70 though. My God, I remember when I turned 60 and my sister had a big birthday party for him, and I kept thinking that I can't be. No way. There's no way. There must be a mistake, you know. And then here I am. Here I am pushing 70, but I think I'm doing pretty dang good. Thank you, Jesus. You know, but what is grandma? Yeah, my mom's gonna be 98. So Robert got to meet my mom. My daddy passed away in 2023. So Robert flew out to for the service and all that, for the funeral and all that. And what's long story short, what's crazy about that is him and his brother, like Ryan, you know, that lives by me. So I got one in San Diego, one here. They hadn't seen each other since they were boys. So like we're talking 16 years. So I truly believe my dad, this had something to do with this. I really do. And brought them together. And I prayed about it for years, like the boys would, you know, finally get to meet, and they did under that circumstances. But they're tighter than ever. And I always told them, you know, you only got one brother. And I always told them that. And so because you know, the history wasn't that great. We all were doing everything. But anyway, it's not about me. It's about you, Anthony.
What?
So, see, I go on a squirrel. A lot of squirrels running across the
There
screen.
are. They're
tonight.
all over here tonight.
I know. See, they go
fault.
on my screen. They go on my screen, and then they go and they run over to yours. And
well,
then
that's what happens when we're in a treehouse. Is there's squirrels running all around, you know?
That's right. That's right. Gosh, well, you got to meet. How many people have you had in your studio then? You had that couple in your podcast.
412.
The first one I listened to. Yeah, the first one that I listened to was that couple. She was really good.
Oh, yeah. David and Amelia. David and Emily. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and then I watched the one with was Alexis? Yeah. And she's such a cool gal. I met her. I met Justin, like I said, at Torchport a couple times. Great.
Yeah, I've only done 3, right? I mean, well, 4. I did. Since the video stuff has started, I've only published 4. I think there was the one with Travis Burns and Tucker Gott, and then Alexis,
yes,
David and Emily, and then Todd Scanderit, and then I've got Oscar Haynes, who's this acrobatics pilot, Truman Word, who works at SpaceX, working on the Starship. I mean, so like for me, like I do occasionally want to branch out from other things that are non-paramotor related, but just things that I think universally people within the paramotoring world would also like the Starship. And this guy, he's like building them, like he's hands-on building them. He's one of the engineers, and just so cool hearing him talk about it, because I geeked out hard every time that they would launch one of these monstrous 400-foot tall rockets. It's wild to think about. And then gosh, I feel like there's another one that I'm forgetting. And then I'm going to Georgia next week to go and record at another paramotor manufacturer, and he happens to also design, be a designer for a well-known weapons manufacturer, building AR, like designing AR-15s.
Wow.
And so that's pretty neat.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you don't go to
and
any
then
fly-ins then? They're asking, Tony was asking
yeah,
anyone
no,
already,
no,
what fly-ins do you go to, have
yeah,
you gone to? Or
zero. I've been to zero fly-ins. I've actually never met anybody. Yeah, outside. I mean, there have been people who've come here to our home to record the podcast, but aside from that, like unless somebody's coming through town, then I have not met anybody.
you
I'd
should
say
get
the
Robert
only
on your show.
oh, I would love to have Robert on the show, and Robert
He's
and
not
his
that far away
family.
in California. Gosh.
What do you mean? That's kind of far.
It's
No,
farther.
that
I think it's far. I mean, maybe in
Georgia's
Michigan,
further.
your California's farther. I think he lives
Yeah.
close. He's closer to you than I am. You know.
If 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 I go to California sometime soon, then Robert and I definitely need to get together and hang out and record a podcast. That would be awesome.
You see what Robert
Um,
said? He
I,
said he'd come on the
oh, I just
show.
got a text. He says,
You visited
"Oh,
Robert's show a lot.
of course, yeah, of
Yes.
course,
Yes.
yeah." I mean, who hasn't visited Paragliding Talk uh,
.com.
.com?
That's right.
And then the
That's right.
giveaway with the Wheel of Fortune and the spinning
Yeah.
wheel. Where's your wheel, Lindy?
Oh
We need to have
yeah.
a
Yep.
wheel.
Yep. Yeah. Sean was on my show last
Son
week.
Simmons,
Yeah.
Son Simon. Sorry.
Natcher. Yeah. Natcher. Yeah.
Oh,
Sean. Yeah. The kiting king. He,
yeah. He actually came to the house. He's somebody who did come to the house
oh, he did?
here.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Awesome person. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
really,
He
really cool
is.
dude.
He was a big
Yeah,
part
he's
of
like, yeah,
Robert's show.
yeah.
Gosh, I know that was nice to see him. My mom is too broke to spin the wheel. I can't have all that. I'm on the free version of
Hey, it's working, isn't it?
StreamYard. So yeah, which works. Yeah, I keep it very basic,
Yeah,
and I always pray that every show that everything is going to go as planned. And tonight it did. And I go to
yeah,
sleep and go, wow, this was awesome.
yeah. For both of us, it was really, really wonderful.
Oh, well, I don't know who was more excited, me or you or Leandra,
Me for sure.
just, I just want, the best for you and Leandra and your family. I think you guys are the coolest, and you're talking about your tent, the big tent in the yard. Yeah,
That's
you're gonna have
right.
to get out and see Robert's place.
I don't disagree. I
It's
do.
nice.
Yeah.
I've seen it like on pictures and stuff, but
Right.
he's got he has a beautiful house, and he's got chickens. He has chickens,
Say
and
no more. I love chickens.
they yeah, and he can fly right off his property. So he even did
That's super cool.
he did do some paramoting when he was at what was he flying circus. He took the
Oh,
family
cool.
to flying
Oh,
circus.
that's who else I recorded with. I literally just got back from Arizona recording with Mo Sheldon, who runs the Arizona Flying Circus.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He took the motorhome. I call him Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
He took the motorhome. Yeah, the motorhome there with the
Chevy
boys.
Chase.
Yeah, he took that's what it reminded me of. The dog, and then the boys all came with him, and Erin, his beautiful wife, she went with
Yeah.
him they just
Yeah.
stayed for one day, but he did fly, so that was kind of cool that he did paramount.
Mhm.
So he does a little bit of both,
Right, right. I remember when he did it for the first time when he got into paramotoring.
So do you think you'll eventually get a trike? I think you should.
Yeah. I had one in the past. I sold it because it was just big, and I think that if I lived on a big piece of land, which I don't, that it would be perfect, and I would love that. But I think that if I was to get a trike again, I'd probably get something like the Roxy Fly Products Roxy, yeah. It's a little trike
Okay.
compared to the
Yeah.
really big one that I had.
Yeah.
Um, I think those are super cool, especially because they're just so easy to get around, and I could fire it up in my driveway and power over to the field where I would fly, and
Yeah.
those ones you can fly around like a bat out of hell, which I certainly am not going to do anymore. Okay, okay. If Leandra's watching, is she watching? Are you watching in there, Leandra? I don't see her. Okay, I'm totally gonna do
Okay.
it. No, I'm not.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Um, let's see. Okay, I'm just reading the chat here. Yeah,
They're
so
all really mean in there. I'm reading all their chats. You got some mean people in there. They're saying,
make sure
Foxy,
y'all hit
you're
like.
correcting me? No, Foxy, I said Roxy.
Well, see,
I was
Robert
seeing him.
Robert jumps on, and then all heck breaks loose. That's
I
what
know. He just brings it out of them,
he just like. Yeah, my mom's gonna be 83, and yeah, that's Robert.
Yeah.
Yes, he. I love him. He's gosh. Yeah,
Well,
I
I
don't
did
know
go to
where he gets his
Kylo's one
money
time, Bill
from.
H.
Tony is
Bill
the
H.
instigator. That's funny.
Bill H said, "Did I go to?" I think he's asking me. You went to Kyle O's one time. Yes, I totally did. Yeah, Kyle O. He's good people. Like he's a really cool dude. I like it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if,
he
if you've ever
frequently.
been to his house, Kyle O, his wife has a really really funny coffee cup that I can't say on tonight's show, but it's anybody who knows now.
Yeah, Leander gets his little eyes there. I'm watching
Hmm.
you. I'm
That's
watching
right.
you. That's so
She's
funny. That's
watching.
oh my gosh. I totally this was so fun.
Yeah, wonderful.
Everybody hit like in the chat. Make sure you're hitting that like button. I can't even there's so many people in the chat that my gosh, I have to thank everybody, for coming on. Anthony, if you want to read the chat names, there's like
Yeah, Tony Marzano. We got Will Fly, and Bill H, which is Bill Herman, right? If because I seen Bill Herman. That's Bill Herman, right?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
yep,
okay. Because I know
yes,
Bill Herman. Okay, and then
yes,
Munchkin, and we got Scuba, and then
yep. Munchkin is
Robert
Scuba's fiance.
McCalais.
Wait, oh
Robert
wait,
McCalais.
oh, I wonder if well, maybe they didn't. Okay, I don't think they were supposed to get married
Leandra
at Flight for
Vella.
Gage. They were going to get married at Flight for Gage, so I don't. Maybe they did.
Oh,
Yeah, they
love
were.
it. First Flight.
Yeah,
And
Stephen
yeah,
Andrews.
and
Yes.
Scott Savage with a name like Savage, that is super cool. That is
Scott,
Savage.
Scotty works in the like his nickname's French Fry because he works in Orida, the Orida factory. So he
Drawing a
was a guest
blank.
on my show one time, and
Oh, cool.
I picked his brain about tater tots.
Ooh, nice, nice.
I wanted to know the whole scoop on tater tots and why my
Yeah.
bag of tater tots was greasy. The taters were greasy. I want to
Mm,
know why.
yeah, they got to do something about that.
It was serious conversation that night.
Yeah,
So I call him,
that's
yeah, I call him
hilarious.
French Fry. Okay, Robert has a question, Anthony.
Let's see. Robert says, "When are when are I going to Europe? When am I going to Europe? I leave. I believe April 6th is my first Europe trip, and then uh, my next Europe trip
Bye,
after that
Tony.
is
Love you, man.
April 20, 20th something, and then May going back to Europe. Uh, Yeah, and then so twice in April and twice in May.
Wow. You are going to
Yeah,
be, wow, you're going
tired,
to be busy.
tired.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you,
Very, very
Bill.
tired.
Bill said, great show. Let me read something real quick before we close the show.
Yeah,
If I can read it. Probably not now.
testing out
Okay.
the new
Oh, wait.
bifocals.
Now I have my glasses up all the way up in my face. Actually, the theme of tonight was channel your energies. Sometimes we have to be single-minded. It's the only way to achieve some goals. We have to draw on all our energy, all of our skills, all of our determinations. When we do, there's a very little we can't accomplish. Concentration comes out of a combination of confidence and hunger. And I thought this was perfect for the show tonight. Yeah, because I have all these cool books, that have all
Yeah.
these kind of things which I love to read. And then I'm going to leave you all with this, okay? Because you know me, I always read the my favorite things here. In the grand theater of life, you are both the actor and the audience. Every day you play a unique role, making choices, taking actions, and creating moments. Yet you're also the observer, learning, reflecting, and growing with each experience. Life's performance is fleeting, so make it meaningful. Live fully and let your heart guide the script. Wishing you a life filled with purpose and inspiration.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
So I will leave everybody with that thought. And yeah. Oh, look who just showed up. Mr. Minty. Hi, Steve.
Steve
Minty. Hot
Minty.
buttered Steve.
Hot buttered Steve.
Now I can't close the show yet because Steve just got in here. Oh my goodness. Will Fly said, thanks for the show, Steve. Paramom, and thanks for being a guest, Anthony Vella. You both rock. Yeah, we made quite a team tonight. Me, you,
it was awesome.
Leandra, keeping the chat going,
I wish Steve showed up earlier so that we could hang out.
Thanks, Steve.
We'll do this again.
Yes, we will. And I'm going to, please keep us informed on all your adventures and everything. And the camping in the backyard. And
yeah, of course.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I wanted to, absolutely thank everybody who was in the chat. I mean, super nice people. Once again, these seem like the exemplary people who the paramotor community needs more of. Really, you've got some great people at your back.
Yeah. Like I said, we all support each other. Tuesday night, we have Never Trust Skinny Chef Shane is on Tuesday nights. You got to stop by his show and subscribe to it with Shane Robbins. And then nothing on Wednesday yet. And then Thursday, of course, is Paramount USA, Lindy's Treehouse. Y'all come back on Thursday nights. Thankful Thursday, I call it. And then Friday is Scuba show, Scuba Vapes. That's what it is, Scuba? Am I saying it right? Because you know me, I get squirrely, and I want to make sure that Anthony stops by the show tomorrow night.
That's right.
We have fun. We talk about anything and
everything gets it wrong
on his show, and then he's going to talk about his little oopsie there that he did. So yes,
I don't want to miss it.
Vapes. Yep, you'll find him on
perfect
on YouTube and everything. So
perfect.
With that, gosh, thank you, Leandra. Love you bunches. Much love. Yes, we always do the heart things. Everybody put a heart in the chat. We always put all the hearts in the chat. Yep, that's what I do every time when I end the show.
And they have to come hang out at the Paramotor podcast too sometime, right?
Yes.
Your guests, they have to come hang out over at the youtube.com/the Paramotor podcast at some point. We're a little bit of a rough and rowdy crowd, but
yes.
We'll
Yeah.
behave. We'll do our
Thank you,
best to behave.
Stephen. Thank you. Stephen I had Stephen, he was a guest on my show when I was in my early days. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. But I know that face. Oh God.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? I have to tell you really quick.
Yeah.
My granddaughter, Sally, Robert's daughter. She's a little jokester too. And I don't know if Robert, I don't even know if she told you what she did to me the other night. One night, she DM'd me and she FaceTime. But when she put the FaceTime on, it was just some guy like from Africa or something was on it.
And I've seen that prank.
I thought that was somebody trying to find me, and I was like, oh my God. And I kept trying to turn the phone off, and she saw the whole thing. And then all of a sudden I see her face come in on the phone and she's laughing.
No, I've heard of that. Would
So
you
wrong.
check this out? Holy smokes. Look at this place he's got.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's not fair.
Much love, Leandra. Much love. Thank you for the incredible heart,
look at that beautiful sky too. Oh my gosh.
Steve Minty, I'm glad that you're on that you came on the in my chat. I love you bunches, dude. You hang in there. Go up, maybe go fly or start flying or something. But I'm always here for you, dude. I'm always here.
Well, thank you very, very much.
So thank you so much. Yeah, this was so cool. So wonderful. You guys all have a great week. Everybody be safe. I pray for everybody. This crazy world. This world's gone crazy. It's crazy. Steve said, I need a life for one and to fly. You will, Stephen. You will. I have faith in you. You are so talented. Steve does video photography. He does everything.
Super
You're smart, you're funny. You keep getting up in the morning and say, I'm smart, I'm funny. Lindy likes me. Anthony likes me. Everybody likes me. So you got to tell yourself that. See, that's me. When I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh, you're so beautiful. No, I don't do that. But anyway. Positive and what do you call it? You get my age. It's like, oh. But anyway, I'll see you guys all next week. Don't forget Paramount USA, Lindy's Treehouse. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like button, and y'all come back next Thursday. I'll be here. Much love. And yeah, I'll see you at Scuba's chat tomorrow night. So you make sure y'all stop by Scuba and Munchkin's show. I love that show. We have so much fun. And I watch my bull riding on the weekends too, because you can take me out of the rodeo part, but you can't take the rodeo out of the girls. So however that goes, 18 years of it doing on the road and stuff with my ex and all that. And Robert would be like, yeah, Mom, okay, whatever. So my second, not his dad. I don't talk trash about his dad. I'm talking about my second husband, whatever. So, okay. So let me see. I'm going to go over here. I love you guys, everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll be in the chat on the other show and stuff. So thank you, Anthony, once again for your time and everything. Thank you, Leandra. And yeah, and that's it. And Robert came by and my night was made. That's it.
Awesome.
And my iced coffee kicked in that I had at 5 o'clock today. So ready to go. Okay.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much.
You. Come back again, okay? You're always welcome.
Will do.
Come up the treehouse. Get bored, say, I'm down on the treehouse tonight. Okay. Bye, everybody. Love you bunches. Okay, I'm going to end it here. And then I'm going to end the stream here.